And we are live. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen out there, listening to us via our YouTube channel, Voices of Courage Asia, our Facebook page, Class Living, and also Woman of Courage Asia page. I'll be very honest, my name is Anita, but why I'm being honest is because I'm sitting in the midst of giants, ladies, some I secretly have a fan club of, but many I really do admire. So before we go on, I want to tell you here that you are not wasted your time. It's going to be a good 1.5 hours here, and we're going to answer a lot of your questions, especially the topic of transform with courage. So before, as we go on, let me just go round the clock, and you can wave when I call your name. Lillian, wave like you just don't care. And we got Cindy Lyong from Relationship Studio. We got Carol Cocker. Hello, beautiful. And of course, the ever nice, the ever charming Sari Mastan. So, okay. So let's not even, and let's dive in deep. Okay, I'm going to introduce to you the Lillian Ong, the founder of Class Living, Woman of Courage Asia, who is a woman empowerment platform. She's also an author, a social entrepreneur, life coach, speaker who has touched thousands of lives through her sharing of awakening of courage and breaking the fear barrier. Lillian, has also volunteered in many projects around the region, including the Singapore Girls Home and the Mercy Team Cambodia. But what you didn't know for many years that who you see Lillian is today, she has a story, she has a background. And her background was she used to suffer from self-doubt and fear and battled with postnatal depression, body image issue, and attempted suicide a few times. Can't see that with this woman later when she opens her mouth and speaks. And Lillian, because of that, because of what she's been through, she's also very focused, in inspiring and empowering women. And that's why today we are here today. She wants to give her time and to find out, really help women out there, to really break the barrier of fear. So I'm going to give this time to Lillian. If you can just, introduce yourself and tell us how amazing you are.
Thank you, Anita. Right, I think, Anita, you have introduced me already, actually. But the gist of my story is that, I went from being a very confused stay-at-home mom that finally, and then went into postnatal depression that what Anita has mentioned, and walked out of depression. And then actually took the courage to find myself. So in the area of my identity, my personality, and basically went on a journey to discover myself. And in that journey also discovered my purpose and my purpose and my passion. So in a nutshell, I went from a very confused and lost stay-at-home mom, and then went on to discover my courage and embark on the journey to having breakthroughs in my life, one after another, from body, soul, and even spirit. So and that's where I am right now, being empowered. Therefore, now, together with all these ladies, we are on a journey to empower other women to discover themselves as well. That's the gist of my story.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lillian, for sharing that. Really, Lillian is just all about one big heart. And I've worked with her, and I can say that. And next, I have the ever wonderful Cindy Lyong. Okay.
Hello.
Cindy Lyong is a very highly sought after Enneagram personality coach. She's a corporate trainer. She's an author of 2 books, speaks multiple languages, and also if you got to know secretly, she's on another channel now. She's secretly on another channel now. We won't say what. Okay. And also, Cindy is just one tribe. She's just one big person who loves learning. And because of that, she's also a member of the International Coach Federation, Singapore Psychological Society. She's also a Singaporean Social Development Network, SDN accredited she's also a dating practitioner. So those of you out there, you know, you will be a few lonely nights here. You have Miss Cindy here, okay? She's also accredited relationship coach. You know, she has a bachelor's of, you know, in psychology and, you know, a diploma in business. I told you, right? She just, wow, you know, she's got so many accolades, you know? And it's just, but what's her passion is actually Enneagram, personality. So on that note, Cindy, I really like you to just, you know, introduce yourself and tell people why Enneagram, what made you so amazing?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anita, for the really very wow introduction. By the way, I don't speak that multiple languages. It's just English and Mandarin. But okay, how did I got to know about the Enneagram was actually at the lowest point of my life because I had a failed relationship, a failed marriage, in fact. So it's not all good and rosy. So I've been through school of hard knocks. And if you think like what Anita said, I love to learn new things, right? But it's really not from the books. It's actually from school of hard knocks, from real life experiences, talking to people, having failed relationships. And I think it takes courage to face myself and to face the failures and then decide to stand up again and to pick up myself to face the world again and not to give up on relationships. Yeah, and it's to find a way out there to rebuild relationships or to build relationship on the right footing. And that's something I'm really very passionate about, helping people make sense of their relationship, having clarity of their relationship. So it is really my failure story that brought me to where I am right now. And I always tell people that your cow dung of yesterday is going to be the fertilizer for tomorrow. And I truly believe in that. So whatever we go through, it is a fertilizer for tomorrow. Thank you.
Amazing. You see, this is what happens, right? You can bring fertilizers and it's for tomorrow. And as I said, I'm sitting in the midst of giant. If I do stammer and behave like a, you know, 10-year-old fan club, please forgive me because it is very rare to our listeners out there that we get amazing women, a panel of amazing women coming together and just to give you amazing amount of insights and courage and a takeaway. So you're definitely not wasting your time. Finally, we got Carol Cocker, the lady in red. And you can see, you know, she just sits there, Carol sits there and she exuberance confidence. Okay, she's definitely a confidence coach, a change maker. She's helped many women to unleash their inner goddess, okay, through her coaching blueprint. She's an NLP practitioner with the American Board of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, as well as a certified style coach with Style Coaching Institute in London. She was also recognized as one of the 100 faces of international iconic influencer by Aesthetic International in India, Singapore, and London just in the year 2019. Carol also, the only Singaporean to be chosen to co-author the book Breakthrough with the #1 motivational speaker, Les Brown. She enjoys cooking, dancing, and she got 2 very gorgeous 7 and 9-year-old, and of course, a very handsome husband. So please, Carol, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you for this amazing introduction. I'm just, you know, just a normal girl, to be very, very frank. I mean, for people who are watching this, in case you're wondering, what is a Chinese girl having a foreign sounding last name? Well, Gokul is actually my married name. My husband is German. And as Anita has mentioned, I'm a mother to 2 children. But unfortunately, you know, things didn't turn out this way in the beginning. Growing up in a traditional Chinese family, I wasn't specifically encouraged to be more. I was told to take care of my looks, you know, to take care of myself, so I will be deemed a good wife material to my future husband's family. I should only speak when I'm spoken to, and then my identity as a person and as a female will be determined by how well I marry. So the message kind of like stuck in my mind. It was like, if I'm not pretty, you know, if I'm If I'm not good enough, then I'm unworthy, then I'm unwanted. And I've always been this awkward teenager, someone who is awkwardly tall, skinny and tan, and they didn't really quite fit in. And I wasn't academically smart either. So at the age of 15, I was going through puberty. My face was covered in painful acne, and almost overnight, my looks were gone. Confidence went down to zero. I felt inferior and desperate to be accepted and loved. And I sought validation externally, eventually marrying the first person who made me felt visible and wanted. But what happened next was 13 years of psychological and emotional abuse. I had contemplated suicide. I couldn't get through with it, thankfully. And I suffered post-traumatic stress and was left penniless. And if not for a good friend and a coach for helping me with my first breakthrough, I wouldn't be here today, really doing what I do. So that's actually inspired me to become a confidence coach, realizing that I wasn't that confident in myself growing up, and I have all these conversations in my head, and that spurred me to become a confidence coach to help women. And I was also very glad I didn't kill myself as well, because I since found myself through coaching, met my soulmate, and now I have a life. So I'm very thankful to be able to be sitting here in the midst of the three others amazing women to share this conversation with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol. We are glad. We're glad you're here with us today. We're glad that you found your soulmate. And speaking of amazing women, we have none other than our final panelist here, Sari Mastan. Sari is a performance coach, a leadership trainer, co-author of Fit to Lead, and founding party of Serious Performance International. Okay, Sari has worked with people from a wide range of background and across both corporate and personal contexts all around the world, from Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. Her clients, hear this, okay, Nike, Unilever, AXA, Apple, BMW, and the list goes on for both many countries in Indonesia too. So one also amazing thing about Sari is her vision. Her vision is to facilitate, to empower, and excellence through powerful conversation and purposeful movement. And she uses her wide range of training techniques and combine the personal, physical, mental, and emotional state of the person. And recently, Sari was honored to be featured in the 2018 Portrait of Women's Project, a special collaboration between Women in Asia, TEDx Singapore, and the National Library Board of Singapore. It features stories of women who are leading purpose-driven projects and are passionate about driving change in their community. She also won Indonesia Women Leaders Award by CMO Asia in 2018. Born an Indonesian, married to Marcus Marden, who is also an executive coach and leadership trainer, and they currently have chosen Singapore at this moment to be their home. So please help me welcome Sari Mastan.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you so much for having me here. I think, the part of me that wasn't there in the biography is that I used to have a career in radio broadcasting, and I used to be a program director when I was 25 years old, and my boss really trusted me to hold that space as a program director. But I grew up as someone who had this conversation in my head that I'm just a girl from a small hometown, and my job back then was to engage with the big personality type of people, and I didn't have that container, or that I didn't have the capacity back then. So I had that conversation that, oh gosh, I'm just a girl from the hometown, I don't know, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, blah 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 blah. But my wake-up call was actually this: when I look around people in my life, they actually believed in me. However, what I realized is that I don't believe in myself, and there's always a theme in my life about that. So when I see people who believe in me, my coaches, my friends, and my family, then I said to myself, so what is it that holding me back? And so my choices that time was I could play safe or I could play bigger game in my life. And for those of you who may not know me before, is that I grew up as a child who often, speak loud. And every time I say something, usually it will end up with tears from my friend, and I offend them, or I just didn't have this filter, right? And so after becoming program director and then moving on with my career as a personal trainer and coach, I grew up with this sense of I tried so hard to fit in. I want to be accepted, but also at the same time, I don't want to stand out from the crowd for the sake of being there on my own. I know it's just not my home at all. So along the way, through coaching, along the way, changing my career from radio into a fitness industry. And then I realized that, great, now I have a home base. Now I can use my talent. Now I can use what I have to contribute to people, to help them to grow. And therefore, I realized that my purpose in life over here is that I don't have to fit in, and I don't have to stand out from the crowd as well. For me, it doesn't matter where I stand, as long as I stick to my purpose, that is, I want to be fit to lead. So that's why I'm here.
Amazing. Fit to lead. And then you got to be the bigger game. I like that word, the bigger game, home base, finding a home base, fitness industry, from radio to fitness industry. Let's talk a bit about awareness, ladies. I mean, I don't think where you came today, all four of you came today just like that, we didn't just appear. There was something that caused you. So I want to ask you, let's talk about awareness. I think it's very, very important to address it. Maybe I'd like to ask Carol first. What was that one moment or event that triggered the change? What was it?
Wow, if I really were to think back, that would be, that moment I was lying on the floor and thinking, why am I not dead? Because I was having to make a choice. I wanted to kill myself. I didn't have the guts to do it. And that was that moment I was asking myself, why am I not dead? And having this thought. And then suddenly the thought just came in. If I were to die, then people who wanted me dead, wanted me to fail, would have won. So that was the moment that I switched over.
That moment, it took almost death for you to, that was when you decided, okay, enough is enough. Cindy, same question to you. What was that one moment or event that triggered that change, that you told yourself, okay, enough is enough, the old Cindy has to go? You're muted, darling.
I was like so engrossed in the whole thing, that I'm just a student here.
Same. I'm so happy I'm on this side of the channel. I don't have to answer the difficult questions. So Cindy, again, bring you back to that moment.
The difficult question.
Moment that triggered the change. That you told yourself, Cindy, Lyong, old one, 不要了. Got to go out the window.
Yeah. So that was the last failed marriage that I had. So that was a wake-up call for me. And obviously before that, I had different relationships with different ones, different personality types. And then the final failure, right? And then it's a marriage some more, so it's like a very big thing for me. And I thought, I better figure this out, If all the relationships were to fail, I'm the only common denominator in all the relationships. So that could only be me. So I better figure this out, like what about myself that needs changing, and that was when I came upon the Enneagram, and I decided that, hey, this framework has really helped me to rebuild myself, rebuild my self-confidence. Now I see where my blind spots are, and really coming to terms with it, like really admitting that I wasn't as great as I thought. I do have a lot of weaknesses. I am not as great as I portray to be, right? But deep inside, I do have a lot of insecurities and vulnerabilities, which I wasn't in touch with. So I guess it takes that failure for me to wake up, and to face myself.
I
Yeah.
see. Amazing. That common denominator. You didn't want to be the common denominator.
Yeah,
Sari.
I'm the common denominator.
Yeah. So, Sari, same question to you. What was that, coming from Indonesia? You did say earlier, you had no filter when you speak to people. What was that one moment that triggered you and said, I got to change. I got to change what the world expects me to be, the nice, good Asian girl, the quiet one, or, behave properly?
Well, I was very curious about the desire in me to grow, really, and I was lucky enough to have a good education, great environment. And at some point, I asked myself as well. So, yeah, what's next, right? So everything feels so good. Then what's next? You know what I mean? Like when life is so good, and yeah, what's next? And it's so super comfortable. And then I went in for a personal development course, and I remember I was sitting there and I felt so I had this conversation that I'm not good enough, right? I had this attitude that I'm just gonna hold myself back because no matter what I say, it's not gonna be important. And then it turned out there was one moment when I got feedback. I said something, and then this woman said back to me, well, it's kind of late what you were saying, isn't it? Like if you say that to me, say 30 minutes ago, I'm probably going to change my mind. So for me, the moment when I just held back and not to say what I need to say for the purpose of the person or the thing that I observe, that's for me, it's really knocked my heartbeat right there. Because that moment I realized that, gosh, there's something, there's more in me that I can offer to the world. But so who am I to hold myself back? And I realized the wake-up call for me is that when I see people in my life, that time my friend, my family, my parents, if I didn't go 100%, people were paying the price. I paid the price as well. Because of the thing that I didn't say, because if I don't want to say things as honest, as true as possible, then they don't grow. And I didn't win as well. I didn't win, they didn't win. So which is why I'm very thankful for my current job at this moment as a coach. It's it's the job that I can engage with, to offer honesty, to offer truth, to offer a powerful conversation so that the person can see. And in the moment, in the journey, I also get to grow because of it too.
Amazing. What used to be your what was used against you now, the same voice now you can use to empower others and for others to grow. That's so amazing. The next question I have is for Lillian. We know your story, but I want to find out from you that how painful was it? How painful was it at that moment when you became aware of a change that was needed? I remember, your story. How painful was it? I want to bring you back to that emotion.
Okay,
Because there could be ladies out there.
Actually for me, my whole life before the change, I was living as a victim. I was very comfortably hiding living life and hiding, trying to be. I mean, unconsciously, I was living as a victim. And you know my story that I've been always been trying to attempt suicide. I was very suicidal. I was
Mm.
living with a very suicidal mindset, a very victimized mindset, and very basically living in fear. Yeah, so it's a
Yes.
very miserable life to be in. Yeah,
Yes.
and yeah, attempted suicide and all that. It's a joke now. I think back, it's like, what was I thinking? And it actually took a car accident to wake me up. Yeah, like it's so ironical, right? I was trying to always like end my life, and I was in a car accident, and it didn't kill me, but that car accident woke me up. Yeah, it took an external disruption and interruption. Is very very traumatic, and it's a three-car accident. So and at that moment, I um I was very shaken, definitely very very shaken, and but at the same time, very thankful.
Yeah.
And from that day onwards, right, I decided that I'm not going to let life happen to me.
Yes.
It's time for me to show up. Yeah, and of
Sure.
course I surrender. I recognize that there is God who is in charge of my life, and that's why I didn't die that day. Yeah, I tried dying so many times, right, but I couldn't. And I recognize that there is a higher power, there is a creator that's in charge of my life. And
Yeah.
that was the day that I decided I surrendered myself. I said that, yeah, I'm living on borrowed times for the rest of my life. I'm surrendering to show up and to
Yes.
discover my purpose in life. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it caused a near death experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the funny thing is, like I mentioned, I actually a few times, but those times were my own attempt. It was that car accident that wasn't my intention to
Yeah.
die that woke me up. Yeah. So I
Okay.
decided to show up. Yeah.
Okay. Before we go on to the next question, just to lighten the moment a bit, we got a lot of greetings, from a lot of people. Like Jack, say hello, ladies. Lisa, hi. Avana, hi, dear. I'm just mimicking them. Lynette, looking good. Okay, Avana, Carol, love your red. Brenda, where are you? Okay. Okay, Teresa, good evening, everyone. And Helen, hello, amazing ladies. So we have a lot of viewers there, and keep the comment coming, keep the greetings coming, just do encourage us, okay? And on that note, the final question about awareness, I'd like to start with Cindy actually. What do you think your life would be like, Cindy, if you didn't take that step of courage to learn about the Enneagram, and you didn't, you decided that you didn't want to be the common denominator? What do you think your life would be like?
I guess I will just be like going from one partner to another partner, right? Thinking that it's everyone else's fault. It's not my fault.
Okay,
And
yeah,
I think it
very
will be
real.
quite
Yeah.
bad lah, because I'll be hurting myself and I'll be hurting other people. And I think that's the last thing I want.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Carol, if you want to unmute yourself, same question to you. What do you think your life would be like, Carol? Seriously. Wow.
Wow. Phew. Seriously, really come to think of it, if I had successfully attempted that suicide and passed on, um, I say I wouldn't be here. And the what Lillian has mentioned earlier, what she spoke about earlier about her attempted suicide and how it took
Mm,
a car accident that made her wake up, and it resonated with me. Yeah, because I wanted to kill myself, and then the things are because I actually hated myself that I didn't do it,
okay.
you know. So, and I just thought that things would just go even further down south
Mhm.
that I wasn't able to get out of. So if I didn't take the step and say, you know what, enough is enough, if I
Mm,
didn't hear that voice and say, you know what, I can't lose in life,
Yes.
then my life would have been a constant vicious cycle, as what Cindy has said, vicious cycle. I mean,
Yeah.
think about that. Yeah, vicious cycle, repeating myself over and over again. So I
Yes.
think that step of courage wasn't because I was brave. I felt that it was because it was necessary. It had to be done.
Something that was necessary had to be done. Sari Mastan, same question to you. What do you think our life would be like if you didn't take the step today, 2020, in the midst of COVID?
Life for
That was
me
it.
would be life would be mediocre for me.
What is mediocre to you, Sari, if I may ask?
So
25.
all right, and it's if you convert it into a number, it's probably, if you create result in your life, it's probably around 50 to 80%, and that is good enough, right? But however, for me, that's going to be the dangerous zone, because that is a great place to hide. You're not worse, and you're not on the top as well. You're just right there. The range of motion is just right there. And so
Yes.
if I didn't make change, if I didn't show up with that courage, I'm probably just going to end up continue playing safe and playing not to lose. But I'm not going to play to win and create such exciting life, and I wouldn't be able to create a great friendship with failures in my life
Great
that makes my
friendship
life so
with.
happening. So I would, yeah, that's how
I love it. Can I
visualize my
borrow it?
life.
Can
It's
I
just,
borrow it? Great friendship with
of
failure.
course, take it.
Yeah,
Take it.
I want it.
It's life, living life to the fullest, and whatever that means. I'm still in the journey. This is still working in progress, right? I wouldn't be satisfied with my life, and people around me will be just like, yeah, mediocre as well.
So I'm just curious to ask this. This is not in the script, but I'm going to ask this. Is mediocre okay for all of you? I know Sari, she's not okay. The 50-80% for Sari is not okay. Mediocre. Cindy, is mediocre okay for your business at Relationship Studio?
No.
No?
I think if we just want to be mediocre, then don't need to do anything lah. Just live life like that.
Status quo. What about you,
Status quo
Carol?
lah.
Carol, mediocre okay, 50-80?
No, absolutely not.
Why
Then
not?
what's the point of living, if you choose to be just an average? Because we are all born, I have this innate belief that every single one of us, women in particular, we're all born to be important. We have a purpose. Yeah. And then so we just let, conversations and our own personal mindset that affects our thinking, that keep
So-
us at a mediocre level.
Lillian, come on. Type 9, mediocre. Blend as a part of the wallpaper. Come on, Lillian. You tell me now. Mediocre is good. Come on, Lillian. Convince me.
I've been a walking zombie for so many years before I woke up. I've been a walking paper, a walking zombie.
Walking wallpaper, right?
A walking wallpaper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So my life would be, living like an invisible woman,
And I saw her transforming from that wallpaper to now a much beautiful giant.
Yeah, I know. Right? She's the wall now. She's the wall. She
Yeah.
brings that wall. No more the paper. Well done.
Yeah.
But it's true, right? I mean, I hope, I really want to really remind the viewers here today that when you're here today, you are seeing the success here. But I want you all to see where they came from, what it took them to be where they are today. Many of us, many of you all there shared, two of you shared about suicide, failed marriages, Sari, the voice, cannot be seen not heard, that kind of thing. Always need to clamp down. But I'll talk about now about attitude and action. Okay, we know the story. We know, where your lows are. I want to bring you now to a point. I want the viewers to see now that one step, that one action you took, just that one action step you took to jumpstart your journey. That one action. I'm going to ask Lillian first to say, what's that one action step? See wallpaper coming out. Brilliant. Step up. Step up. Yeah, what's that one action step? Just need one thing. Who knows? A lady might a listener here might just say, oh, that's me. I just need to take that one step. The first difficult step.
My first step was to break down. My first step was, I think I shared this many times, the balcony scene where I was trying to end my life again, and then went to the bedroom and saw my kids, and then it became, their breathing was so therapeutic, and then but I was still very tired, and mentally, physically, spiritually, I'm just very, very tired. And then in that playroom, was the first step, because it was the first time that I allow myself to release all that emotions, that I have suppressed for, I don't know how, the longest donkey years, and that very moment was an eruption, a tsunami of emotions that just break out. It's like a dormant volcano that just broke out, just erupted. And my first action was to allow myself to really release all the emotions, and I surrender. As in, like, definitely surrender to God, and acknowledge where I am, where acknowledge what I have been doing to myself. Yeah, so that's the first step, was to acknowledging my true feelings, who I really am, because I've been so lost. Yeah, so that was the
Acknowledging.
Yeah.
To just giving yourself permission to break down and
Yes.
acknowledge that, hey, I'm going to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, because I've been putting up such a strong front for the longest time. It's so tiring. It's so tiring. Yeah.
I'm going to ask Carol the same question. Carol, what was that one action you did?
Well, the first thing I did was to seek help. Just that I knew I couldn't do it on my own, because I tried. I went down a downward spiral, and then I wanted to kill myself. So in order not to prevent me from having more suicidal thoughts, I think I need a professional. So I went to seek counseling, to have to understand what I'm going through. Why do I have all those thoughts? And then turning to family and friends, and then subsequently getting myself a coach. The thing is, like, funny thing is, like, where I did not think that to get myself a coach at first. I didn't know coaches existed. It was one of my girlfriends. She said, you know what, you need someone to help you to sort whatever you're going through up. And I said, you know what, I don't want to go and see a psychiatrist. I'm not crazy. And then she said, no, you should speak to a coach, someone, a professional who's able to help you to understand, where you were and where you want to go. And it is because of that. And then having support is very, very important, because I was cut off from my friends, close friends, and from my family. Yes. So taking that first step, to get that support is very important. So that was the first thing that I did, just to seek help.
Amazing. Cindy, same question to you, dear. What was that one action you took?
The action that I took is to stop doing anything, is to not even take any action first. Because I really need, for my personality type, I'm really good at doing things, like do and do and do and do and do, to the point that I do not self-reflect. You see? So the thing that I did was actually not to do anything, and really just to reflect, and think through what actually went wrong. And I came to the conclusion that it must be me, right? And that is a lot of hard work involved. It's not so much of physical work where I go and do things on the outward, but it's in the heart where I need to come to terms with it, and then feeling lousy about myself, that whole cycle, the whole going to the rock bottom and coming back up again, the rock bottom, to the bottom of, you can't even go any lower, in the heart space. And to cry your heart out, to cry to the point where there's no more words to utter, and then finally to come back up, and then finally decide, okay, what is the next step to do? And then the next step to do, it's a very well thought out, like it's got to be something that is meaningful to me. It's got something that is going to build myself in terms of my self-worth, in terms of my self-confidence, and that become a more deliberate action rather than just doing for the sake of doing.
That is very, very interesting advice. Stop. Sari, I have 2 questions for you so that you can transit for us. One is, the same question is, what's the one action step you took? That one action step you took to jumpstart. And my subsequent question to you is, why? Why you step up? Why you showed up? Why you took that one step?
Okay. So from the desire to fitting in, to fit to lead, the one thing that I did, the very first thing is declare what I want in my life. Declare that this is the life that I want to design. And then I went to the gym. I'm building muscle. Not for the sake of what I realized when I went to the gym, it was just I want to shape my body, right? But that's for the sake of the thing that I want to impress the world, with the image, like, yeah, look at me, I'm a strong woman and blah, blah, blah. It's just like the necessary for me to prove myself, which was fine, nothing wrong with that. But then what happened was I did the same thing. However, I shift the way I see things. So instead of fitting in, I want to fit, to lead. And therefore, instead of impressing, I just want to express myself. I just want to express my strength within me. I want to express the tenderness in me. And so I use all the body movement, all the type of exercises, dance, lifting, yoga, CrossFit. It's purely really to just express myself and get in touch with this thing called authenticity. And I trust if my body has that and easy for me to access, then yeah, every time I feel like my life is fall back into mediocre, then I can shift. So why is it important for me? Because, oh my God, the work is still ongoing. I work with people, and for me to produce result on my own, that's no longer the challenge for me. The challenge for me is how I can produce result with people and through people. And at the same time, I get to grow as well. And the job requires great amount of energy. So I gotta step out, I gotta focus out, because that's my source of energy, to be honest with you, apart from my sleep and my food as well. But really, for me, if you ask why, because there is no finish line. I gotta keep showing up.
Amazing. I like what you said. You got to focus out, and there's no finishing line. And that's the amazing why. That's really an amazing why. But before we go on, we got a lot of thank you, and we got Lisa. He says, love to see Sari and Cindy again, Catherine, kudos to all of you for sharing your story. It's so true, right? I mean, we can sell the best products. You can have the best product, but if you have a story with it, it just makes it so much more meaningful. Lynette said, great friendship with failure. That is so deep. See, I knew it, right? I told you. This is gonna be on a t-shirt, I'm telling you. And we put your name very small, Sari Mastan, okay? Very, very small. We will caption you. I told you.
Tweet it.
I'm gonna tweet it, But it's true.
I'm like that with failure.
No, and it has come to to be like that, as you say, with failure. It has to come to a point of, as you say, awareness and realization, and you see failure no longer as an enemy, but as a friend. So it's good, right? Put your enemies closer to you. And I like what Lisa said. Yes, first step is the most difficult. It is true, Lisa. Anything you start is difficult. And now, the same question now, I'd like to ask Carol, why? Why step up? Why show up, Carol? Why? Why can't just live in denial and be the 50-80%?
Yeah. Well, why? For me is if I don't, then where else can I go? I've been down at the rock bottom. Then the only way is to go up. And if I keep continuing doing the same thing over and over again and not getting the same result, then I need to step up the game and then do some more, try things differently in order to achieve the results that I wanted. So I think that's the why.
Amazing. Cindy, same question to you. Why? Why step up? Why show up, Cindy? What for? Huh?
I guess for me, it's about the meaning behind why I do what I do. And if the meaning is so propelling and it's worth going for, then why not show up? And in fact, a lot of people might need the kind of help that I offer or have been through what I've been through. So if I can help someone with my failure story, then yeah, I'm helping another soul. So yeah, step up.
Amazing. It is true. It all comes from the heart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Lilian that our next question is this. What have you observed the challenges women face today? What have you
Why
observed?
why do you ask, why you don't want to ask me why step up, why show up?
Because Lilian, we don't want you to step up and show up already. We want to give you the next most difficult question. Yeah, what have you observed? Before we go on, Lilian, Choto Mate, to our viewers out there, if you have any questions for any of our panelists today, please type into the chat, okay? And then we try to get as many of your questions answered. Lilian, what have you observed in the challenges women face today? What have you seen in your coaching and in your mixing with others?
Yeah, I to answer this question, I still have to go back to the why step up and why show up. Yeah, because it is related.
You know why I did this to you? This is exactly why we want Lilian to show up. Normally Lilian, her natural self is okay lah. I answer whatever you ask me to. But this is exactly what I want the viewers to see. By just
Okay.
pushing her, and she stood her ground. She went, no, I want to answer the previous question because it's related. Okay, Lilian, why step up and why show up? And after that, help the viewers observe the challenges women face today. Go on, Lilian.
Yeah, I think for me it was very simply my two babies. When I look at my two beautiful children, and I was thinking to myself, if I'm not going to show up, what's going to happen to two of them? If I continue to be living as a victim, yeah, I mean, I look at them and I couldn't. I went after the accident and all that. I couldn't not show up. Yeah, so I showed up. The first step in showing up was for them. Yeah, and it's still for them actually. Yeah, it's just that I like to say the quote, when you awaken the courage of a woman, you ignite her power of influence. First was to influence myself, to lead myself so that I can be a decent mother to my children. Yeah. And I always ask myself that question, because I've been living in fear for the longest time, right? So courage is where I need to go. So I ask myself the question, how do I teach my children courage? I can't tell them. The only way is to walk the talk. The only way is to show up. There's no other way. So that was my motivation. That was why I show up for my children. And I'm still showing up for them. But I didn't realize that in the process of showing up for my children, the sphere of influence has expanded. It has expanded to the women that I know, the women that I spoke to, the women that I come into contact with, the women that heard my stories. And while speaking with the ladies, those who spoke with me, I realized that many of them have the same experience as me. We were living in fear. We were living in a victim's mindset. we were living in depression. And the least I could do is to show them what I did, how I get out of my depression, how I got out of my body image issue, how I break my mindset, how I tear down all those limiting beliefs, how I did the run, the half marathon, which I never knew that I can actually do that. Yeah. So what I observed, the challenges that women face today was, like myself, I was very comfortable being a victim. I was very comfortable living in fear. I became so comfortable being a walking zombie. Yeah. Do I want to wait until something so drastic, so painful to wake me up? And thankfully, that wasn't too late. Yeah. But what if that day I died? What would happen to my 2 kids? What if that day I didn't survive? I would have died a victim. I died a failure. I died leaving 2 kids, knowing that their mom didn't try, didn't show up. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to ask Sari the same question. In your line of work, why have you observed the challenges that women face? You've lived in 2 different countries. Is it different or is it still the same?
Well, yes, based on my experience, working within, across the region, and also working in both industry, fitness, and also leadership and performance. And based on my personal experience too, here's the challenge though: the desire to create the so-called image as a superwoman. Now, don't get me wrong. I like all the idea of being a superwoman and strong woman. I get that. What's not okay is that if that image of superwoman gets in the way for you to create the life that you want. For example, superwoman doesn't ask for support or help because it doesn't fit the narrative of being strong woman, right? Strong woman must be independent, right? But they often forgot that actually, yes, there's an independent, there's dependent, and then there's an interdependent, which means I get to work and live with another human being in my life. So the desire to, okay, let me do everything all by myself. It's only creating a burden feeling, and the resistance of when people say no to you. Every time you ask for help, and then people say no, and then you feel like, oh, hurt, right? And that's how I reflect my life too. A whole of, before my image was like, yeah, being a strong woman, like, yeah, I don't need help from others, which is not true at all. Because strong woman means I gotta be willing to show the other side of me. And life is not only taking care of my image, right? That's a superwoman. But rather expanding my definition, my narrative as what superwoman really means. Or being a woman really means. That for me, the way I see it, you do have muscle, you do have curve, and you don't have to hide all of them. That is the business of your life, is to create courage and to create an extraordinary result of life.
Amazing. You can still embrace the femininity of curves, but still also have, you can embrace all that and still. Oh, I like what you're saying. You can show what's outside, and being a superwoman is something you can embrace, but yet still embrace your true self. That's so nice. Carol, in your line of coaching, I know you're a confidence coach. Tell me about what you observe, the challenges of the women you face today. The new Carol 101, okay, 2.0, okay? The new Carol 2.0.
Well, what I observe in the women I have the privilege to be working with are shadows of my past, of giving myself excuses. You know, the whole realization why my life went the way it went was because I was always giving myself excuses why I shouldn't be. Like, for example, I saw red flags in my relationship with my previous husband, but I chose to give an excuse. Maybe if I do a little bit different, or maybe if I ignore this, maybe I try and do something else, things will go away. Giving excuses for myself for not working hard enough for the things that I want. You see, in the past, the word mediocre was my middle name. I just didn't want to be seen. I'm happy being in my cocoon. I was living life, as what Lynn has mentioned, like a zombie. Come to think about it, there was this statement that I saw someone mention some years back, that a lot of humans, for us, we are already dead in our 20s and 30s, that we are only being buried at the age of 80. So I felt, and what I've observed, a lot of the times we have all this internal conversation, as what Sari has mentioned, or the internal narrative that we have, telling ourselves why we shouldn't, instead of telling ourselves why we should. So that's giving excuses, finding excuses for ourselves, not to step forward.
I like giving you excuses when you're already dead in your 20s and 30s, waiting to be buried at 80s. That is, I mean, if we can take a poll now, I'd like to ask how many women are living that kind of life. And, just summing it up, before we ask Cindy, it's just to summarize this and to bring it a bit more livelier. It's true. I mean, I want the viewers to see that these are ordinary women taking one step, and step that they are comfortable with. It's not like life-changing. It is life-changing. It's not like, oh, they have to climb Everest or something like that to do it. They didn't. They probably had to climb their own emotional Everest, but they took that one step, a step that they had the strength to do it. And Cindy, wonderful Cindy Lyong, you work, as in your line of Enneagram and personality. What have you observed in our women today, our Singapore faces?
Wow. If you ask me from the angle of personality, I would say that okay, there are certain types that naturally struggle with confidence issue, with self-doubt and doubts about others. And however, I do think and I do see that can be worked through. So I wouldn't want to, put them in a box and say, hey, you're born with low self-esteem or you're born with trust issues. Yes, but you can do something about it. So it's all about you can do something about it. There is always a nature and there is a nurture portion, definitely, right? And then we also do have situations where like people like me, right, think too highly of ourselves, right? Born with too much confidence, and then only coming to the rock bottom of ourselves, that's a wake-up call, and then also doing something about it. So really there is no one size fit all solution, because it all depends on where the baseline is, right? Are you on this side of the spectrum or are you on the other side? But at the end of the day is to come back to that balance about finding that comfortable place, your position in the society, and to find that balance between the feminine self and the masculine self. Yeah. And of course, I would say that in Asian culture, there will be another set of challenge as well, like certain expectation of how women should behave, right? So I totally agree with Sari's challenge, right? And if Sari is now, you are in a European country or you're in America, then there's not a problem. I mean, being straightforward and honest and direct is what they value. But for Asia culture, that's just not supposed to be the case. And I do see that many women also struggle with that misfit of culture and the gender. and their personality, right? So all coming together. So I would say it's about finding the path that works for you. Yeah, finding the path that works for you. And I'm so glad Sari found the path that works for her.
Yeah.
Such an inspiring story.
It's true. I mean, I listening here, I'm so inspired that you all found a path that worked for you all. I mean, if you just, later on when you just see yourself, the four of you are out there, you found a path that works for you. Be it, wearing something beautifully red. Okay. And somebody that questioned to me, I want to answer the previous question before I can answer this question. And Cindy went, a person that was with so much confidence suddenly had to be, and really had to learn to quiet it down. And Sari, breaking the body barrier, breaking all the norms that what an Asian girl should be. I mean, it is actually, I really like this panel because it speaks to the majority of the women out there, those who have got a loud voice, those who don't want to have a voice. But change can be done. Small step. You can climb your own personal Everest if you just have a friendship. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt, okay? If you have a friendship with failure. And that is so amazing. Now, just a word of encouragement for our viewers. Helen, Helen is one person which we really admire. She's one person who, she just said this, love the panel of women. And Helen is one of those that we know that invest in herself. She invests in herself. She invests in development. She invests in bettering herself. So she's one of those amazing women. Let's go to advice. Okay, you ladies there, four of you are expert, and I'm going to pair this question. So the word advice here is, what is the one advice for the women out there? What's the one advice you can give the women out there to better themselves, and why the urgency? I want to ask about the urgency to take charge, and what's the one advice you can ask yourself out there? Lillian, you look like you're ready to talk. Come on, Lillian. Speak to me, baby. Come on, darling. What's one advice for the woman out there?
I mean, this has helped me, so I hope that it will help you. And I mean, all the ladies out there is because for my personality, it's like I get overwhelmed very easily. So instead of getting overwhelmed in not knowing what to do, how to do, when to do, which one to start first, I love this quote by St. Francis of Assisi. He said that start by doing what is necessary, then you do what is possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. So see what is necessary in your life right now that needs to, for you to take that first step. What is that prioritize and do what is necessary first. Yeah. For me was, to really look at my life first, because I was so busy taking care of everyone except myself. Yeah. So concerned with everyone else except myself. Remembering about everyone else and forgetting myself. So what was necessary for me back then was to take a good look at me, at my life, that's the first step, the necessary step that got me out of from a victim. Yeah.
Wonderful. Carol, same question to you. What's the one advice for the woman out there? For some, if you meet a woman who's just like your old self, what's the one advice you're going to tell that girl?
If I were to tell myself, the old self, that would be something that I tell myself every day when I look into the mirror. Don't let the lie of inadequacy fool you. My whole entire life before the change was feeling inadequate. Then giving myself excuses not to do, not to step up, not to step out. And also because of my personality as well. I'm an introvert. I'm a peacemaker. I don't want to have any conflicts, so I'd rather I actually shut myself down. And because I didn't feel my voice was adequate enough. And I really like to share this, not as an advice, but to share that as a message that I received. And I really want to share with all the ladies out there. Don't let the lie of inadequacy fool you.
Yeah. Sari, what's the one advice you give to either the women out there or the younger you?
You know that I do have an assessment about advice, right? I noticed that myself. So what I'm going to share is what works for me. I move my body, I move my life. Sometimes this concept of courage, this concept of, for me, what's being a leader really means, what showing up really means. You can think about it, but really the body is a domain of learning. And sometimes when I just forget about, I don't have anything nice to say, I don't have anything smart to offer, just by moving my body, I really, really moved my life. It really changed my mood. It really changed my energy. It really changed the way I see things, the way I see the possibilities in my life too. And imagine living life full of options, being able to look at a different way. And again, whatever I'm saying is that there's no finish line, and I'm very much excited to see, the future. What else? What else possible out there? Yes, move your body, move your life.
Another T-shirt we're gonna do today by the Women of Courage Asia. Thank you. We got a T-shirt coming up. I move my body, I move my life, which is so true. It's not only about the physical body also, right? Sometimes you got to move your mind and you move your life. It is all encompass everything, and it's true. I mean, I was in quarantine for 28 days. Choice. Trust me, you move nothing. It's 5 steps in every possible direction. That's all you have. And it does something to your body. It does something to your mind after X amount of days. So, Cindy, come on. What is the one advice you give to your old self, man, Cindy? You talk to me, baby.
Be totally honest with yourself and follow your heart. Yeah. Be totally honest. Like, just be honest lah. I'm not the smartest person, right? I don't know everything. Or there must be something out there that I don't know yet. And let me go out there and find it. And there is definitely a way out there. And I think it's this being totally honest and not giving up and in search for that solution, right? To bettering human relationships that got me to where I am today. So even right now, I cannot say that I master every personality types or 100% hit rate for handling every personality types, right? Because I'm still learning and we do have our limitations, right? I can know it in the head, but when I execute it, it might not be 100%, and it also gets me out of my comfort zone. So it's really about being honest, and that's the first step. I don't know everything. Let me go out there and find out and to learn, and I can get better at it step by step, slowly but surely. And true story. In the past, I never understood a certain personality type around me. Like, they're so quiet, they are introverts, they're always in their mind. I don't know what they're thinking. So in the past, I'm like, I really don't know how to talk to these kind of people, because no matter how much I talk, right, they just don't respond. So how? But after that, I tell myself, okay, maybe my way of doing it is not right. Maybe there must be other ways to get them talking to me. And that is when I humble myself to learn, right? Learn about them, what drives them, why this type of people are behaving the way they are, and what do they really need, what makes them tick. And I must say, over the years, right, I do get better. With enough practice, I get better now, and I tweak the way I communicate. So it's really about being like a Play-Doh,
Being pliable.
Yeah, exactly. So you be versatile and you try different things, like experiment. So the curious me will be like, okay, is this just a social experiment? Let me see if it works. If it works, then yay, that's great. So I get better and better at it. So yeah, I think that's the starting point.
So amazing. And to those viewers out there, why we named this Transform with Courage is because we are having a boot camp that's coming up soon, later on. But and you are, the ladies out there, you're so blessed to have all these 4 amazing ladies face to face, within arm language, that you can actually talk to them, and and feel them, not in this 4x4. But one question I ask you, Sari, actually, you have been nothing but generous towards the Women of Courage Asia community. I have literally, I mean, you're just a text away when Lillian asks you to text, and you make time. You make time to give back to this community, and for me, it speaks volumes of you as a person. And you're very busy, because I know personally you're very busy, because I know someone that says, oh, I can't get time with Sari, I want to book her time, she's so busy, you know. But you make time for Women of Courage Asia. Why do you want to support this community, Sari?
Oh, simple, because woman of courage mean woman in action. So when you see women in action, when you see your friend in action, your option is either you support them or you just hold back. For me, that's no brainer. It's woman in action. It's very compelling for me. Let's move.
Let's move. Women in action. Let's change the name. Women in action. Okay, let's move. And then we make t-shirts. Okay, we make t-shirts. Yeah, but it's true. But thank you. I agree. Okay, let's make a t-shirt. Women in action. Cindy, why do you again, Cindy, no stranger to you. I mean, I've spoken to you on this platform a couple of times. Why do you keep supporting Women of Courage Asia?
There's one thing that is really deep down in the bottom of my heart, that I really believe that women, we are the key to building great relationships within the family. We are like right in the middle. I don't know if you watch that in drama lah. Like, sometimes when the son is getting rebellious, the kids are getting rebellious, and the kid is like, the father is like, no, I'm not going to talk to him. He's no longer going to be my son. And then the mom will be like, no, he's still your son. So, that woman in the family, no matter where we are, not just family, but workplace, there's just a special calling about, mending relationships, putting hearts together and to create that harmony in the family. Yeah, so there's that thing. I really believe that we are just called to be like in the middle of that the family, and we can make so much difference if we can empower one woman at a time, one at a time. And I think we can really build a lot of great relationships around us. Yeah.
I like it. One woman at a time. Carol, I'd like to ask you the same question, Carol. I know people are pulling you in different directions, very much like Sari and Cindy, okay? But why? I mean, Carol is, if you do not know, is actually the backbone of this bootcamp that we're having. She's doing everything, okay? And we're like, basically she's the head, she's the big kapala, she's the big leader. Carol, why support? Why support Women Courage Asia? Why support this community?
Well, first off was because I received support myself. A good friend of mine, as I mentioned, pulled me out of the brink. And then a coach who's also a female who understands the inner workings of what I was going through. And that was really, really powerful. So initially, I started out wanting to pay it forward because I received it from all these two amazing women, and then and the support from my girlfriends as well. Then I want to pay it forward. And as I started serving with the Women of Courage Asia, I realized that I was the one who actually benefited a lot more because I've gotten to learn so much. I mean, in fact, today, sitting here with all four of you is one thing. And like what Cindy has mentioned earlier, I feel that for us women, we are definitely pillars and the backbone and the glue the community. In fact, we are the, I would say, unexposed, species for gender. This is not to start a gender war here.
No.
Not to put men down. It's just that traditionally in the olden times, women have always been put against each other. We have always been, trying to compete for affection, compete for a place in the world. But now things have changed. As technology advances, people tend to get disconnected. And I remember in the olden times, my mom would sometimes leave us with this neighbor. She has kids of her own, so that she can go out and run an errand. And I always see, and I always also have this belief that it really takes a village and a community to really raise children and then to be better, because we need to rely on that kind of support. So we kind of lost that. And all the more so right now with all those stressor and of course the pandemic that we are going through at the moment. We really do need to come together more so right now, and also with all the various movement that's out there, women empowerment, like for example United Nations He for She, Me Too movement. I think this is all, I believe this is the time, and it's the right time for everybody to lock arms together, because I believe alone we're just a lone warrior. We can achieve our goals faster, but if we lock arms together as a community, we go further, and that's why.
Yeah. And I'd like to pose this question to Sari, actually. Why is working on ourselves important? Bringing towards the boot camp, actually. Why do you think it's important on working, investing in ourselves?
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to offer is a point of view, working with ourselves, but also at the same time it goes hand in hand with working with others too. I know that a lot of believe that if you want to grow, well, you got to look in, right? But also there's a possibility for you to grow is also looking outside of yourself. And then as the result of your accomplishment, the way you participate in your life, focusing out on others, you are also growing. And as you grow, and then you start noticing things you need to change as well. This is what I mean by interdependency up here. It's like, now I need to work on something for the sake of why is it important for me? The people that are important in my life, right? So that's focusing out and then also focusing in, and it goes hand in hand because of the people that really matters in my life. People that I love, most, my husband, and I love him so dearly, and for me, if I keep thinking just about myself, then again I'm just going to hold back and I'm not going to grow, right? But if I'm focusing on him, his growth, and then it's also my community with you ladies, the people that I work with. At the same time, I create, you see, the way I see coaching is like a win-win game. There's something in it for you, and then there's also something in it for me too. So for me, why is it important to work myself and also working with others is because for the sake of growth.
Amazing. Sometimes it's just not a selfish perspective, isn't it? I love it. It's also much more about for the people around us. Cindy.
Yes, for the sake of what?
Yeah, for the sake of what? Another t-shirt? For the sake of what? ... We're going to make another
t-shirt. I'm just going to put that onto my bill, Anita.
Oh, darling, just bill it away. You got Lillian's number. Just bill it away. Yeah, we're done. Cindy, I'm asking you to having a journey of a failed first marriage, a successful second marriage. I think you're one person that comes to me that you don't apologize. There isn't a need to apologize. We just continue learning. But why is it important on working on ourselves?
I think it is important for the people really around us, the people that we love. Of course, for myself, okay, so you have a selfish reason, and for other people, right? So for self is, if I don't grow, then what next? Then I'm just going to live life like that without fulfilling my fullest potential, without even closing my eyes in a coffin, knowing that I have served my full purpose here. Then I'll be very sorry for myself. Okay, that's one. And when I am not at my best, then I'm robbing people around me away from a better me, from a better lover, from a better mother, from a better friend, right? So I am robbing them, I'm shortchanging them. So there is like this two-pronged approach, right? One is for myself, and definitely there's one is for the people, the bigger community. And if I'm not at my best, looking back right now, the number of lives that I have touched or I could have touched, if I have not touched them, where will they be right now? Maybe very lost, or as lost as I was, right? So really looking back, the impact is very great. It is not just for myself for the sake of just building a business, but it's really about the lives that's being impacted. And wow, if my life can be turned around like that, and I can help thousands of people, and imagine these thousands of people, their life is being turned around and they can help more people, then this will be such a great place, right? The community will be such a great place to live in.
Yeah, it will be so much more bearable. The final question, I want to combine this question to Lillian. I want to ask
Yes.
you this.
Yes.
Why is it important to join a bootcamp that's happening next year? And what's so different about this bootcamp, Lillian?
Why she always do that to me?
I know, right? I just love the wallpaper that you've become.
Now you have to do your marketing pitch, huh? Why
No,
come
but
for
it's
the
not so
camp?
much of a marketing pitch, right? I mean, it is so, can I use the word gangster? If I may use that word gangster, it's so radical. That's the right word. It's so radical to be wanting to do a boot camp in this time.
Yeah.
You got the big C word, COVID. You got regulations, but this lady, I don't know, decided, and it's not even about dollar sign. And no, we're working very closely with Lila. It's not even about. I mean, if you see the cost, right? It is so shy, But why? Why so important, Lila? Why so important about this bootcamp? What is the heartbeat? And what's so different about this?
Again, I want to go back to the last question.
Go on.
Yeah, because because I can't give. We all can't, I mean, okay, I speak for myself, like I feel my mindset is that I can't give what I don't know what I have. If I don't work, or if I didn't work on myself, I don't know what is in store, what are all the potential, what are all the gifts and talents that is in me, and I can't give that away if I don't know what I have. Yeah, so I feel that organizing this bootcamp is one way to help and empower women to discover not only who they are, what are the potentials that they actually have within them, and how powerful, what kind of voices they have within them, what kind of, their the confidence that Cindy have, and all the potential. The potential will remain a potential. It is if it's not being discovered and uncovered and released. And so, yeah, and knowing the ladies here, I'm very, very thankful, very, very grateful for, Sari and Cindy, for a start that, you saw into my life. You empowered me and helped me to discover what I didn't know I have. Yeah, and along came Carol as well to encourage me to, to give what I think I don't have. Yeah, so it's all about discovering yourself. So when you discover yourself, you know what you can contribute to the world out there. You really, I mean, I felt so empowered by the ladies here. So like we said, an empowered woman, I guess, naturally just have the urge to empower others. Yeah, we just want to give. And yeah, it's a very simple reason for organizing the boot camp, because we all went through our journey of fear and challenges and our difficulties.
Yeah.
So like you said, we found a way, and it may not be the best way. Is what works for us, like what Sari said, is what works for us, and we want to give away this gift as well to the ladies out there. It may work for you as well. Yeah.
Final words, Carol. Final words about what's so different about this bootcamp. What do you think? So you have been the lady behind it, the beautiful, beautiful lady behind it. What's so different about this boot camp?
Well, what is different is because as what you just reiterate what Lydian has said, it was first of all created for women by women. And also we are not doing this to to earn money or to make it a profitable business. We just wanted to coming from a space to give, because there are so many women out there who have gone through what we have been through. All 5 of us sitting here, in one way or another, or another, that might need some guidance. They might need some cheer to get on. I'm speaking as a coach. When I talk to the ladies that I work with, is my job is not to push you, but to be a running partner with you, and then to be a mirror to reflect back to you. And it's actually what I think what we wanted to do, and this is why Lilian wanted to create, to have this boot camp. Yeah, we might call it boot camp. Okay, it sounded like something very military style, that you're breaking your whole body down, then gonna build you up. But then the thing is, it's we have the body portion where Sari is going to be showing us at the boot camp, and then Cindy is going to be teaching us at the boot camp on relationship, understanding the enneagram. Because there's a Chinese saying, you see, if you know yourself, okay, then you are able to go out and influence others. And then that's actually the first. And this is where Cindy is an expert in that area. And then Sari being the expert, on body, on movement. Yeah. And it's actually all encompassing. Everything else just fit together as a puzzle. We are one big puzzle and all fit together. And this is, I believe, this is actually what we need as women, because we are multifaceted. So we have all these different types of coaches who are here to support you. And of course, it's like, we have all gone through our paths, our struggles. And, you would want to have coaches who have been through to understand where you are, where you want to go, where you have been and where you want to go. And I think this is why it makes it all so powerful, and what is so different about this boot camp. I would say that, ladies, right, if you're listening to this, we're not going to go there and just break you down into pieces and then tell you that, you are crazy, you are not this, I'm going to, it's nothing of that, no. Okay, this is not what, if you're thinking this is what bootcamp is all about, which isn't. There's going to be screaming and shouting. There will be lots of love, maybe a little bit of tough love. But then again, it is from us to you, because we wanted to do this for you. And you've heard what Sari has mentioned, and you have heard what Cindy has said. We all just want to impact lives. And we've been through, we've received help, and then we're here to support your growth and your journey. That's our difference.
Thank you, Carol. That's really amazing.
Maybe I'll just like to add on.
I was about to ask Cindy. Yes, please.
I saw the background of your this session. You see the leaves and the trees, right? And it's just so apt, nothing is by chance. How many of you are actually in a place where you do not think it is the most conducive for your growth? You can't be growing where you are right now, and you want to get out of it, and you want to go into a more supportive environment or community. So in Singapore, that's what they did very brilliantly at Gardens by the Bay. So they have a bunch of trees that cannot be grown in our kind of weather. They built this really nice dome, a very nice, conducive micro environment for them to grow. And I just want to liken our boot camp to that. It is a micro environment for you to grow and to be at your best. So sometimes, your current home environment, your work environment may not be the best for your growth. Come and join this micro environment, this community that we have. And that is going to radically change your life.
Yeah. I love that analogy. I love that.
I love it. It's so, Sari, your parting words for us, your word of wisdom, before we say good night.
Here we go. For me, but I've been in the this week. I'm in the leadership training, and then one thing that comes to my mind is this: where do we put our power? Is it in ourselves, or is it in our environment, or is it something else outside of us? Where do we put our power? Is it on my lap, or is it on my excuses? So come if you really want to create change, and design the life that you want. And you don't have to come too. You don't have to join if you see your life is going to be just fine. So this is not a place to fix you, because in my lens, you are not broken and there's nothing to be fixed there. You are okay. So don't come as if you want to fix something, but come because you have something that is important for you. And therefore, that's when the exciting games begin. And, you know, I think in my experience working with Lillian, it's truly enriching community, right? The power, tap in the power of community right there. And then see what you can create.
Amazing. Come because you got something to gain. It's not a fixed thing. Beautifully said and done. And on that note, Lillian, do you have something to say? Then I'm going to say good night. You want to say? If not,
I mean, tonight is you're the host.
it's really about them. Yeah, it's really about
Yes.
4 of y'all. The link is below. If you just like to express an interest, okay, for the boot camp, okay, the Google form is in the ticker here. Ladies, you don't want to miss out. You don't want to. You want to just capture a moment with these 4 amazing giants. On that note, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Lillian,
Thanks.
Cindy, Sari, Carol. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you guys have been so amazing. So good night and see
Thank you,
you.
Cindy. Thank you, Carol.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Lillian.